Go on, put them up. Let's have a punch-up. I've been thinking about war. Well, everyone keeps talking about war, don't they, at the moment? Oh, is there going to be a war? Are we going to be conscripted? Have we got to go and do national service? And what kind of war would it be? Not quite sure, really. But there does seem to be this sort of warmongering in the atmosphere. I don't know if you can feel it or sense it or whatever. And I don't even have a television and I don't read the newspapers. I don't listen to the radio. And, well, to be honest, I keep off places like Facebook and other social media, apart from, of course, YouTube. And even then, it's filtering in, oh, there's going to be a war and all of this. And I thought to myself, well, why would there be a war? Who is it good for? Of course, it would be very handy if we were to have a war at the moment, because in America, for example, they wouldn't want Donald Trump to get back in, would they? Because they're a bit worried about that. If there was a war, they could stop the elections in America. That would be quite handy. And over here, if there was a war, well, it would distract everybody from all the corruption that's coming out. After all, that certain medical intervention that was forced on so many people, where people have been snuffing it rather rapidly or have been extremely badly injured, people will be going, oh, we haven't got time to muck about with all of that and look at your poor little problems with people, you know, granny dying, or your son, your footballing son dying, or anybody just keeling over, because we've got to fight this war because, oh dear, there's this terrible battle that needs to be fought, because if we don't, they'll annihilate us. So, yeah, war. Now, the thing is, nobody really, let's face it, has an appetite for war, do they? I mean, I don't know whether you do. That's why I said, put them up. Come on, let's have a punch-up. You know, you can have a nice little punch at the back of some pub on some late Saturday night with somebody who's looked at you a bit sort of dodgy. But do you really want to go to war with a superpower? For example, I don't know, let's just think there are many people that you could go to war with, but people that have been thought about is, oh, I'm rushing to think of the idea of a country. It'll get there. Oh, Russia. Yeah, let's talk about that then. Let's say it was Russia, just for the sake of argument, you know, because what are the chances of us actually picking a battle, little island us, maybe, you know, working with another country and supplying arms and men and personnel and aircraft, like, I don't know, F-16s, that sort of thing, that would be very difficult for another country just to quickly learn how to fly and manage and maintain. You probably need British forces to do that, who understand the details of it all. So, you know, if you've got those and they're being aggressive, that kind of is a bit like an act of war, isn't it? But the people, the lovely people, the kind, benevolent people of this country who, to be honest with you, just want to get back to the land and grow things and have a nice life, get on with their neighbours, not have to worry too much about, I don't know, the problems that we've got in this world at the moment with all the chemical sprays that are going on in the sky and all of that. They really don't want to be dealing with that. They've got too many other things to deal with, haven't they? After all, you know, plenty of them children are dropping down dead or not being very well or whatever it is. And perhaps they'd like to deal with those sort of problems rather than having to worry about, oh, hang on, there's going to be some nuclear war. We need a paper bag to put onto our head. And after all, paper bags are difficult to get hold of these days. Even plastic bags have been supposedly taken off the shelves, haven't they? So I don't think people would want to go to war. Except, do you remember, a few years ago now, there was an event, if only I could remember what it was called. I think it was in September in 2011. That's right, something to do with aeroplanes and pilots that couldn't fly properly. Ended up crashing into a couple of buildings, if I remember, in another country. You might remember it, having to be cryptical because of the platform, you know. And these buildings went poof all the way on the ground and a lot of people died. Now, there's a lot of people who have since said that, I don't think the aggressor was who we were told the aggressor was. I think it was more an excuse, what they call a false flag. And because of that, we all suddenly went, oh, those people, they're dreadful, aren't they? Those nasty people, we better go and have a war with them. And then, you know, there were sexed up documents to give us reasons to do that. Well, it would not surprise me now if something similar happened, that in order to get the public, the ordinary everyday people, to be, oh, I think it's a good idea for little old us to have a big battle and, you know, kill a lot of our own people and others, and cause huge problems in the world if we have a massive war with a superpower, with a massive, great big superpower, and of course one that we couldn't possibly win. And so in order to get that, there might be, it seems to me, most likely that very soon, after the election, of course, because Rishi Sunak doesn't want to be a wartime Prime Minister, and he's obviously wanted to get out whilst he can, so maybe it will be Starmer who will lead us into it. So there might be this event, a big event that maybe happens in London or somewhere in which a lot of people get killed, and people will go, oh, that's them. And it will point to this superpower that I mentioned, you know, and people go, oh, yes, we'll aggress. And they'll get all very excited, and then there'll be more sexed up documents, and maybe somebody will go into a wood, you know, perhaps a doctor, maybe a Mr. Kelly or something, and inadvertently take his own life, and it'll all be a bit mysterious. And we'll end up going to war. And yet this will be an inside job, and it won't be who you think it is who's had this act of aggression. It will be, of course, the government trying to persuade us these are the reasons why we, men and women of this country, have got to drop our pitchforks and our ploughs and our normal quiet way of life and put down our relaxing pipes and pick up AK-45s or Exocet missiles or F-16s, whatever it might be, and put boots on the ground and go and fight a pointless war. Just like over 100 years ago, we had wonderful men who were persuaded to climb out of the trenches and just basically be torn down. And it's very useful, though. We've got to feel sorry for the bankers because, you know, they'll be financing all of this, and so they'll make a lot of money out of it, won't they? Of course they will, because they always do when they finance wars, and that will be really for their benefit. So war, who is it good for? Not for you and me, is it? So be aware. There might be a false flag happening anytime soon, and it won't be what you think it is or what you're told it is.